Well, good morning. Welcome to December, and I would like to thank Nancy once again because she filled in for me last Sunday when I got caught coming home a little too late. It took me 12 hours to drive home from Reno. I was not expected, but we planned for that. We provisioned for that. So I want to thank Nancy for being able to step in for me. And this month is on divine guidance and Christ consciousness. And my talk today is divine guidance. So divinity and Christ consciousness are the universal aspects of God that operates through the act of conscious intention or deliberate creation. So what are you deliberately creating, if you know it or not? Well, just take a look at your life and what's the common denominator? You. Look at your challenges. What's the common denominator? You. Look at your triumphs. You know, you can do this with everything in your life. So, in areas where you may be lacking some divine awareness, divine intervention is possible. Sometimes we need an intervention, don't we? You ever had an intervention where somebody sat you down and said, you know, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in your life that maybe you haven't seen it in the same way that we're all seeing it or I'm seeing it. So has the infinite ever sat you down and said, I want to have a chat with you? And instead of sitting there and listening to the divine out, you decided that it wasn't time for an intervention and you got busy doing something else? Or maybe it sat you down in such a way that you couldn't get up and you had to listen. That's what happened with me. So, Great Spirit, Christ consciousness, whatever you choose to call it is your business. We can all agree that there is something that's happening. Animals are great with this. They don't even question the energy. They just fly south for the winter. They just shed their winter coat when they need to. They don't ask. They don't take a workshop or buy a book, or you know, they just walk on, knowing, and it's so perfect. We can take a lot. If we just watched nature, we would have a great clue in divine intervention because they don't even question it. They just go with it. I mean, how does a bear hibernate? You know, how does it slow down its own ability to process? It's incredible. But you know, we come into this life and we tell God, we've got it from here. Thank you for getting us the first 9 months, but we've got it from here. Interesting. So God can intervene, and we can activate that to demonstrate the highest and best in any situation that you can imagine. Because we may believe we have access to God's consciousness, but we're only taking it so far because we're trying to tell the infinite what we think it should do. This is what I choose to be, do, and have, and this is how it's going to happen. You know, now I don't want to have to do any work. I don't want to have to stop doing anything or start doing anything. I just want it to happen. You know, we're incredible beings, aren't we? We so want our lives to change. But don't change anything in my life, okay? Because I don't do well with change, so don't change anything. But I want all these things to change Very interesting. So I'm just pointing this out for myself because of the way I am. I mean, maybe somebody else can relate a little bit. So we may not believe that we have the access that knows all things, creates all things, is all things, all at the same time. Right now, it is breathing your body, beating your heart, digesting food, creating cells that are bombarding challenges within your body you don't even know you have. Some you may know you have. But you have a pharmaceutical company factory within your own body that's shooting out energies, and we want to get in the way of that. We want to dictate how that works, right? And sometimes we need to go to a medical doctor, an MD, made up divinity, to, check out what, it's good to have some extra help. But where does the healing come from? It's not because you put a Band-Aid on it that it heals. The Band-Aid helps with the healing, so nothing else can get in there. But the healing comes from within out, right? My mom was very good at Neosporin, hydrogen peroxide, Band-Aid, and a Kissy. Kissy, very important. Because the Kissy could go out and play again. The pain went away. It wasn't because of the Neosporin, it was because my mom kissed it. And we need to kiss our own wounds sometimes, don't we? We need to go, you know what? I know that this too is good, this too is God, and I demand to see the blessing in this right here and right now. That's my way of looking at things sometimes. And that was told to me by one of my early practitioners that I went to. And at first I was like, how can you demand something on the universe? And she goes, well, if you don't, the universe might not know that you mean business. You have to get serious with the universe. Because if you're wishy-washy in your prayer, your results are wishy-washy. But when you are aligned and on purpose, and without a shadow of a doubt's not even part of the equation, results happen, demonstrations occur. This is how the power of our mind works. And we have to just be in alignment with that. Or as Emerson says, get your bloated nothingness out of the way so the divine circuits can flow. I always thought that was an insult until I realized that my nothingness was bloated at times. And I thought I was all that in a bag of chips, but I was not. So God can help you when you can't seem to help yourself. Have you come up against yourself in certain situations where you can only get so far? Your watermark is only a certain level. And maybe you're asking for something in your life to be healed that, well, that can work for everybody else but me. I'm the exception to the universe. This power that creates worlds wouldn't work for me. And because of that belief, the infinite always says yes to what you believe. And it says, absolutely, this is as far as we can go. If you believe that, that will be your demonstration. That's why we have to open up to that possibly the wisdom that created us knows better than we do what's the best for us, and ask for that too. So when we treat for something, when we say a prayer for something, we say, I choose to have this or something better. Because I may be limited because I can't see the forest because the trees of my challenge are right here. We have to let the infinite that has the big picture, that sees the earth as a thumbnail sketch, just a different perspective. And when we can put ourselves in that perspective, I'm not asking you to reduce your challenges, because they're your challenges, and I know that they're sacred to you. There's something you want to be, do, and have, and it's very important to you. But we need to look at it rightly. That's what this whole teaching is about. It's about looking at things rightly. So what's the difference between the two types of prayer? Now, before I was into this teaching, I was praying in a certain way and getting certain results. And once I learned about how scientific prayer treatment works, my watermark moved. My capacity for greatness expanded. We need to expand our horizons. So I used to pray something like this. And this isn't to say there's no right or wrong way to pray. There are different ways to pray that get different results. Please, God, I will never do it again. If you will just make this one thing happen for me, I will never do that again. Please, God, if there's some way you can fix this thing that I have totally messed up, I will never fill in the blank again. Right? And it's called a beseeching prayer. It's more of a let's make a deal. I'm going to do or stop doing this thing, and you're going to give me this. So if you want to make a deal, I'm going to stop doing those things or start doing these other things I'm supposed to be doing. And if there's a result, then I know things happen. You ever been there? You ever play that game?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like when you go to Vegas, It's like, I'm going to put this money down, but if I don't win anything right away, I'm not coming back. So, what's the difference between a beseeching prayer and affirmative prayer treatment? In the form of expressing a request for help from God, it may produce a different effect than the form of a prayer that is spoken in the form of pure intention, or a scientific prayer treatment or affirmative prayer, where we say, I know that there is a power that is always on, and that I am, as everyone is, a part of that power. And I know that divine love exists, and I open my being to that divine love and allow it to flow in a way that is recognizable, and I can feel, and I feel it right now. I'm going to give great thanks right now that it's already happening, and release this word directly into the living, loving law of God, because I know it's already done. Thank you. So it is. You see the difference where you're declaring what you choose to be, do, and have, rather than asking or bartering, the barter system. Now, the barter system can work if you have chickens and someone needs eggs, and they have bacon and you want to trade, or something like that. But it doesn't work in the metaphysical realm the same way. You may say, well, I'm going to tithe my time. And know what I got back? Time. Lots of it. A job I had went away. So I was like, wow, is this really working? So my practitioner told me, well, why don't you start volunteering and giving freely of your time in a way that's making a difference in the world? Wow. volunteering, giving of my time for free, but I should be looking for a job. Well, why don't you just pretend you have a job and call it volunteering? This is the minute I did that, all of a sudden job offers started coming in. Huh? Well, what is that? How does that happen? I knew that I had something there because I was thinking rightly. I was thinking in a different way. I was allowing divine intervention to come in. I wasn't saying, I want that right there. I was saying, I want something like that or something better that God may have an idea about. Can you open yourself up that much? I mean, I know you can, but will you open yourself up that much? Can you release the grip of your conscious idea of the way you think it should be and allow the divine to come forward and show you something new? When you affirm a truth about your situation, when you speak your word with power of belief, turn your experience over to God, you are literally evoking the divine guidance and action of Spirit. You give the divine the permission to intervene in your reality according to its view. Its view, not yours. There's a big difference. We do this in visioning. Visioning is a technique that we use in this teaching, where we sit down, we have a purpose for something we want to be, do, and have, and we sit quietly with a pen and paper, and we're asked specific questions of the universe, and we fill in the blank with what comes through us beyond our conscious thinking. You put your bloated nothingness aside so the divine circuits can flow. And it's incredible what comes through when you can do that. What does this look like all worked out? What do I have to become for this to work out? What do I have to release for this to be a no thing or a something, depending on what you're treating about? Activating, just filling your consciousness with the idea that it can happen. Open at the top thinking, people. Right? If you don't believe you can heal, the universe always says yes. If you don't believe, let me show you how it doesn't work. And you're thinking that the energy doesn't work when it's working perfectly at the level of your belief. Interesting, small, subtle detail that once you switch it and flip it, opens your mind, right? So, you give the divine the permission to intervene in your reality according to its view of the big picture, not yours. You can get results that you may have never obtained with your own reality and your limited creative techniques alone. This is divine guidance or divine intervention, the highest power in the universe activated on your behalf because you're choosing to call it forward. Now, why doesn't it just do it? Why doesn't it just flow in automatically? None of you would be here if it did. Because you have everything worked out, because it would just intervene on your behalf. You have to invite it in. You have to invite it in. In the Christian tradition, there's that point where they have to invite Jesus into your heart as your personal Lord, Savior. That idea, we've all heard that, or some of us have. And that's a great place to start. And then we just put it all on Jesus. You know, it's like, well, he'll do it. And in this teaching we go, well, no, you are your Savior. You get to figure it out. The divine through you. Now, again, this isn't to say any one teaching is right or wrong. There's just different expressions and translations of the same teaching. You are your best practitioner. Because you know what you want better than anybody else. But sometimes we get cloudy, don't we? Sometimes our family, we start telling our family what they want, and they're like, how would you think that could happen for you? Who do you think you are? And you start going, yeah, no. Doubt starts to creep in. You're like, yeah, I don't know. I just was thinking that maybe I could, Don't let that happen. Don't call those people back. God bless them. Send them a text. Say, blessings. Don't respond to their energy. The minute you respond with a zinger that you just got, you got a zinger, and you're like, ouch, I'm going to give them a zinger. And then they come back, and then you come back, and you got the zinger rally going on. Let it go. Let that stuff go, man. I had to get rid of some people in my life. I'm sorry, I didn't get rid of them. Here's the thing. When you start to change your consciousness and love them regardless, they either become part of your solution or they dissipate back into the nothingness from which they came. That's how this works. If they're not for you, if they're not part of the divine flow, you still may send them Christmas cards, but you don't need to hang out with them. To a certain degree, they're family. I love them. But they don't interfere with my ability to know the truth. They don't affect my decisions. No, I think you know what I'm saying. We're all adults here, and you got to choose your favorite color. And if you didn't, I urge you to choose a rainbow right now, because they can all be your favorite color. You don't have to choose one. Okay? A person can only demonstrate at the level of their belief. Ouch. I had to look at places where I wasn't demonstrating at certain levels, certain abundance quotas that I had. I had to look at why. And God bless my family. They had this thing in my family. It was called FHB. There were 4 kids, 2 adults. We'd go out to eat. We had only a certain amount. So my dad would say, FHB tonight. Family hold back. FHB, like share a salad. We're going out, but it's going to be, pretty $20 for all of us. So that continued into my adulthood, and I had to figure out where I was applying that in places in my life and healed some of that, Maybe there's other places in your life you've seen that maybe teachers or neighbors or somebody has influenced you in a way to think to a certain watermark level. Well, raise that. Take it away. Sky is not the limit. There is no limit to divine guidance, divine healing. It is done unto you as you believe, and if you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. Okay, sorry. So a person can only demonstrate the level of their belief. Consciousness depends on spiritual evolution. How evolved is your consciousness? And can you up-level your consciousness by invoking divine guidance? Absolutely. Once you say, I'm going to let the divine idea of this come through, you erase the watermark. And all of a sudden, new ideas start coming in. New people start coming into your arena. New things start happening for you. The things that used to break down don't break down, or they get replaced before they're needed. Stuff starts to happen when you start to rely on divine guidance. So how do you call this forward? It's easy. You just ask. Say, I choose divine guidance. I know I have ideas about this, but what's the bigger picture? What's the biggest healing in this? What's bigger than the biggest? What's better than the best? So the more evolved a person's spiritual consciousness is, the more awareness they have, and the more they're able to create the reality they desire through deliberate and conscious creation. Think about that. You advanced students, you. Any advanced students out here? Don't raise your hands. I think that everyone that's come into this teaching is an advanced student. I mean, even this is your first session here, first time watching this video, you didn't just happen upon this teaching. You didn't just stumble in here because you happened to be walking down Pine and I. You found yourself here, and there's a reason for each one of us being here. Each one of us has a divine contract. You signed it, and you manifested. Here you are. Ta-da! What? I signed on for this? Yes, you did. Ta-da! So, let's make it the best. Let's make it better than the best. Let's not just write a book, let's write a bestseller. But let's start with writing a book. You got to start somewhere. Whatever is your talent, is your gift from the infinite to be part of yourself. So what's your talent? What's your gift? What's your divine idea? So, the more evolved a person is, the more advanced student they are. And you are an advanced, the people in the blue-green seats are advanced thinkers, okay? Those of you in red are super advanced thinkers because those are the ones hovering you don't see above you. So God has the highest amount of awareness and is therefore able to create a reality that is perfect on your behalf when you invite it in. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. I mean, you've got to let go of the status quo. Let go of the status quo. You know, there was a point in my life where I was hanging on to the rock in the middle of the river, thinking, you know, the status quo is pretty good right now because I know this status quo, and I don't know if that beach over there, if I can make it. Well, there'll be another rock at least I could cling on to, but you've got to let go of the challenges you have right now, so that the infinite can fill you with a divine demonstration of itself. Now, it's not easy, and you may want to call a practitioner or a beloved friend that you can talk to about whatever you're walking through so they can see the truth for you. And ask them, can I borrow your belief? Because I don't believe it for myself right now because of what I've walked through. But can I borrow your belief? That's why I'm here. I have a huge amount of belief, and you can borrow it. You don't even have to call me. You can if you want. You could text me. But borrow it. You don't even have to give it back when you're done. You can keep it. Because I'm making more belief all the time. And I bet you are too, or you wouldn't be here. So in conclusion, when you turn to divine guidance, you are creating the reality you desire by allowing that which creates everything to act on your behalf. Call it in and borrow my belief. So it is. All right, it's time to follow our teaching now and go back within and remember who we are. So if you'd like to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on the beautiful flowers or the candles or whatever takes you deeper, let's go within right now and follow our teaching and be still. And as we become still, I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the power of creation is to you. What is God? What is Jesus the Christ? What is Buddha? What is source energy? What is Great Spirit? Because whatever you believe it is, you are. You are a part of that power. You are a divine demonstration and outpicturing of its consciousness. You are divine dream that the infinite is having. And as such, each one of us, being part of that power, has a dream, has a desire to be, do, or have something. I invite you to bring it into your awareness now as a completed idea. Not what's possibly in the way of that, but what does it feel like? Already done. See yourself complete. See yourself evolved. Invite in that divine divinity of the universe that creates worlds into your situation right here and right now. How good it is to know that that power that created each one of us is always on, is always available, is always doing what it does, which is healing. It is healing each one of us all the time. No matter what it may look like, healing is happening. As we connect with that divine healing source, a peace and a perfection is our demonstration. A newfound clarity is our world. So we give great thanks for all of the healing, all of the revealing of truth that has already happened and is happening right now and will forever happen. Thank you, divine, infinite, knower of all things, healer of all situations, revealer of all truths. As we step into the divine consciousness, it steps into us. For truly there is only one of us here, and it is the infinite expressing as the countless outpicturings of itself. So I give great thanks for the peace and the harmony and the divine right action, the divine guidance that is yours today. Thank you. Love is the answer to every question. So we let go completely, releasing this word directly into that living, loving source energy where it responds with divine demonstration. I let go and I let God be God in me as everything that is. And for this, we are so well blessed. And we take full advantage of that blessing by living fully, wholly, and completely in every moment. As we rest in this realization, we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Okay, hi, welcome back.